Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Together we will chant the first 5 verses of chapter 6, please.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Anashritah karma phalam karyam karma karoti yaha sasannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na chakriyah yam sannyāsamiti prahuhu yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya sannyasta sankalpaha yogi bhavati kaśchana arurukshor munir yogam karma karanamuchyate yogarudhasya tasyaiva shamah karanamuchyate yada hinendriyartheshu na karmasvanushachyate sarvasankalpa sannyasi yogarudhastadochyate uddharedatmanatmanam natmanamavasadayet atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu atmaiva ripuratmanah.
The 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is entitled Dhyana Yoga, or the Yoga of Meditation. There are 47 verses. What you see on the screen here is a summary of the whole chapter. This is not found in the original text. It's part of the research done by Swamiji. As you all know, Swamiji is also my father and guru, and guru to many of us. He has made it easy, relatively, for anyone who's interested to know the message of the Bhagavad Gita by giving this summary for each chapter. There are 18 chapters. We are on the 6th chapter. And each chapter has a theme. And in the chapter, you will find there's a flow of thought. Now, if anybody picks up the Bhagavad Gita, if you have a copy at home, if you pick up the Gita and read it, it is next to impossible to understand what is going on, what is being conveyed. Now, this summary is very helpful in finding the flow of thought. As we go along, you will be clear what we're talking about. So, the chapter is divided, as you see, into 6 topics. Again, I caution you, this is not in the original text. It is made convenient for anyone to understand the message of the chapter. So the first topic, which we will try to complete this evening, talks about yogi. A yogi rises to a jnani. Now, these are Sanskrit terms. You don't have to worry about it. We need to refer to the original text as we go along, but we will be explaining it enough for you to understand. So, yogi, as the word indicates here, the translation, is an active person. If you know the background of the Bhagavad Gita is part of the epic Mahabharata. And in the Gita, you'll find that it is a conversation between Lord Krsna and Arjuna. Now, in a classroom like this, we are studying the Bhagavad Gita in an analytical way. We're not concerned really concerned whether who gave it out to whom, but what is the message? And we will gradually understand as we go along that the message of the Gita is universal. It is very scientific. The presentation is logical, systematic. Like there are certain terms that are used in the Gita. For example, yada tada. Yada means when this condition is fulfilled, then that will happen. This is logic. And tasmat, therefore, is a conclusion after giving you all the facts. So as we go along, we'll refer to it whenever it comes up, but it's for the benefit of those who are perhaps here for the first time, just to let you know that it is an analytical study. So though there is a Lord Krsna who we respect as a personality, what is important is what he's saying. Doesn't matter who is saying it. Does it make sense? Is it logical? Is it scientific? Now just to let you know, before we get into the mainstream, it's very important that we're on the same page. That's why I'm explaining this to you. I think most of you know that Swamiji has written several books, particularly the Vedanta treatise. And in the beginning, you read the fall of the human intellect, because it prepares you to understand the Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads, the higher texts. And it's something that every young person needs to know if he wants to live his life or her life fully, completely, without having to go through a process of trial and error. Most people, we just get into the mainstream of life just because we educate ourselves, we get a degree, we find a job, and then we think, yes, we're ready. Now here is a text that prepares you for life, to live a full life, a complete life. Not a life where you're disillusioned, where you're unhappy, where you're hurt, and then you wait for the wounds to heal, and then pick up again and start living. No, you live a clear life, a perfect life. How to do it? Now that is a technique. We need to learn, we need to practice, we need to make perfect. So coming back, the books that have been written by Swamiji, if there is one comment that we can make, why should we read it? It's for this reason. There are many, many great books in this world. So what's so special about the books that Swamiji has written? The difference is this, and anyone can find out for himself and herself. That's what the Gita, that's the way we'll be discussing the Bhagavad Gita. There are two aspects in any text. One is, when an author writes, it could be his opinion. What an author thinks. That's called an opinion. It could be a very valid opinion, a very good opinion, but it's an opinion. Now we've got to learn to distinguish between opinion and fact. You see the difference? For example, we could say, an opinion, Pune is a beautiful city. Opinion, debatable. You may agree, you may not agree. But if I say, Pune is a city in the state of Maharashtra, fact. How do you know it? Find out. So you don't debate a fact, but you could debate rightly an opinion. Even if it comes from a very great person, an opinion is debatable. Now the way we are going to be approaching the Bhagavad Gita is going by facts. And this is unique in Swamiji's writings. You will not find one opinion in all the books that he's written, including the commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, which is rather unique, because most authors give their opinions, maybe beautiful opinions, maybe great opinions, but there's always an area that is debatable. You give scope for debate. But when you give facts, you're on solid ground. And that's the approach that we will have in our study of the Bhagavad Gita. So coming back, yogi is active. As I said, the background, Krishna is talking to Arjuna. So Krishna represents, for all practical purposes, a person with perfect knowledge, if that is possible. It is represented by Lord Krsna. When we say perfect knowledge, logic, reason, facts. That's what he's giving. And who's listening to these facts is Arjuna, who is a man of the world, an active person. An active person meaning, like anyone, everybody's active. Are you all not active? From morning till night, you're running, doing things. So why are we sitting here when we're such active people? Well, what happens with action is this. If you analyze the world, people are active, dynamic, efficient, progressive, successful, but not necessarily happy. In fact, they're not. Because along with success, you pay a huge price, and that is stress, strain, worry, anxiety, insecurity, a whole lot of things that could agitate your mind. And even if you have everything that you want, there will still be agitations that, will I be able to maintain what I've got? And I need to get something more than what I've got. Nobody in this world is satisfied, even if they've got plenty. So, why is this happening? Is there any way we can change it? And that's what the Gita says. The Gita says, look, you don't have to go through this stress and strain and worry and anxiety. It is unnatural. It is not a natural state of being. What is natural is to be peaceful, blissful, joyful, content in any situation. You can be placed in the worst of circumstances and be happy. On the other hand, if you don't know the technique of life and living, you can be placed in the best of circumstances and be miserable. The choice is yours. So we're going to take a look at how an active person who is in the beginning full of all these desires and agitations, how he can move to being a jnani, an enlightened person. Now that is the ultimate state of human perfection. You may say, look, I don't know what enlightenment is. I don't even know if I'll ever get there. And you know what? I'm not even interested. Rightly so. But we can think of becoming better humans. Nobody is perfect. So is there a chance for us to become better and better? Now that is the progress that we can make. From yogi to becoming better, and if there be some who says, let me be the best, let me get to the highest point, why not? There is this whole life that you have, and you have choices that you can make to help you set the right direction. So with this in mind, as we go along, we will see how the chapter progresses. We get on to the first verse.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Anashritah karma phalam karyam karma karoti yah sasannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na chakriyah. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Anashritah karma phalam karyam karma karoti yah sasannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na chakriyah.
This chapter starts with a very famous and oft-quoted verse. You should remember this. The Blessed Lord said, he who does his bounden duty without depending on the fruit of action, he is a sannyasi and a yogi, not the one without fire, not the one without action. Now let me caution you, the Bhagavad Gita is actual poetry. So when we read poetry, we have to interpret the words. You can't take it literally. That's why we need to discuss it. That's why you need a commentary. Otherwise, you can just read it and understand it. It's almost as if we have to decode some of the words to understand what he's trying to say. Now, first of all, he says, who is a sannyasi? Who is a yogi? Now, we believe sannyas. The moment you hear the word sannyas, first thing you will think is getting away. You can't be in your family, you can't be in the city, you can't be an ordinary person. You have to sit in an ashram or in the Himalayas, get away from everybody, and not live a so-called normal life. So you'd say, oh, there are no sannyasis here, because they're not wearing that attire. Or you got to have your beads, or you have to have something smeared on your face. Then that person you believe is a sannyasi. Nowhere in the Gita he talks about what attire you should wear. What is your address? Are you in a remote place? Are you sleeping on stone or hard ground? You should not have air condition, definitely not. Then you're not a sannyasi. You can't eat in a restaurant. And nowhere is it said. And yet we have our own ideas. Who a sannyasi is, who a yogi is, who is a yogi. Now it's coming out of the Gita. Who is a sannyasi? Who is a yogi? It's so simple. Karyam karma karoti yaha. He who does his duty, whatever be your duty. See, if you're in business, do your business. If you're in a profession, do whatever you're supposed to do in your profession, to the best of your ability. Put your heart and soul and be sincere. If you're a teacher, teach. If you're a preacher, preach. If you're a student, study. If you're a homemaker, perform those duties. Whatever be your duty, moment to moment, do it fully, completely. That's all he says. He who does his bounden duty. And then he adds a clause. Without being dependent on the fruit of action. See, what we do is, we do our duties. I'm sure you're all doing your duties. But what? People are ungrateful. See, the world is not the same. I work so hard. These fellows don't even recognize me in office. What are they paying these days? How much time are we put? Immediately. The moment you put in effort, you want something in return. See, even parents, you're taking care of your children. You say, oh, I'm very conscious of my duty as parents. And what do? You take care of your children. I'm sure you do. But there is a clause. You may not say it out, but you feel it. Now, you ask your own conscience. You don't have to tell anybody. Ask yourself, do I have any expectations out of my children? I've taken care of them. I've given them my best years. I have suffered happily to bring them up. But you know, old age, they must take care. No? But these fellows, they decide to go abroad and then they forget us. Once a year, they send a ticket. And the moment the boy is married, then even that ticket may not come every year. Because he has to invite in-laws also. So now it's divided loyalties. Huh? So there is a disappointment. See, these boys have changed. No, modern days, they are like that. But if somebody comes and asks you, you pretend. Oh, lovely children. Oh, I had a nice time. You say that because you don't know how to face society. But inwardly, you are upset. Because of an expectation. If every parent took care of the children fully, completely, the same things that you did, but attitude is, I have nothing to do with them. It's like a kite. You know, when the kite, you struggle and struggle and struggle to bring the kite up. You wait, it comes down. Again, you try and bring it up. But once it gets into the air, it goes further and further away from you. Now, you don't say, come back, come back. If you come back, it will not fly. Children are like that. They're kites. They go up, up, and further away. You should be happy. But if you're doing it for returns, you'll be unhappy. You'll want them by your side. You want them to be under your control. Tremendous expectation. And the more you expect, the more you'll be disappointed. Now, whether it's your relationship with your family or your work, what is your work? Give your best to the work that you're doing without expectation. You're a free person. The moment you expect, little bit of work you do and you're looking around, am I going to be appreciated? Am I going to get back for all the time that I have spent? See, what you don't understand is when you have that attitude, your work itself is impoverished. You're not giving the best. Therefore, you'll never be recognized. Look at the artists. They paint. They don't even know the value of the painting. Have you heard a musician, a singer, especially in a live performance? He is in a state of inspiration. I don't know if you've attended a classical music performance. Any artist. He is in a state of inspiration when he is giving out his music. And when he hits a high, it's the audience who claps. You recognize he's hit such a fine note, and he almost comes out of that inspiration to acknowledge your applause. He's not interested in your recognition. That is a true artist. But if the person is singing and looking, his performance will not be of that quality. The same attitude, he says, maintain in everything that you do. Whether you're cooking a meal, or you're signing big contracts, you're doing big business, or you're a doctor trying to take care of the patient, or a lawyer giving advice, put your heart and soul into whatever you do and not have any expectation. It's one of the most difficult lessons to learn. You will do your duties, but there's so many expectations. And therefore, see, let's work backward. Are you disappointed? Do you feel disappointments? Do you get agitated? Do you get worried? Go from that point. If you experience any negative emotion, anger, hatred, jealousy, envy, greed, any of these negative emotions, please understand, it's like a red light. It's telling you something. You're not on the right track. You're expecting something. And you may say, I want to expect. Please expect. If you have expectations, you will be agitated. It's impossible that you will be peaceful. Now the choice is yours. Here is a formula. He says, do your bounden duty without depending on the fruit. Work well accomplished is a joy. If you can maintain that, you're like the bird. You're like the bird that flies free. If you don't have that attitude, you're a bird in a cage. You're confined. And that is very frustrating. So the choice is yours. And then he says, such a person is a sannyasi. Such a person is a yogi. So who is a sannyasi? Who is a yogi? One who does his bounden duty. So you could be in family, you could be in business, you can make your money, you can have your name and fame and whatever else. It doesn't matter where you are in life, it matters what your attitude in life is. That makes you who you are. So you could be spiritual in your business, you could be business-minded in spirituality. You could be in a temple morning, noon and night and thinking, what will I get? What will I get? That's business. Or you could be in business, profession, whatever you do, and have the highest spiritual attitude. That makes you a sannyasi, a yogi. Then he says, not one without fire. Fire in the context means an ideal. So fire is an idol that represents an ideal. So not a person without an ideal. So if you're working for your selfish interests, you can never have this attitude. Even in your family. Why are you taking care of your family? It is your ideal, your responsibility. It's your duty. You place it above your immediate desires and interests, your selfish interests. So you work not for yourself, not to please you, you work to please others. Make them happy. That attitude is an ideal. Now you work in your profession. May my profession prosper. I should bring a good name for this profession. I should serve people. It could be medicine, it could be law, it could be business, it could be anything. That becomes an ideal. Otherwise, I want to prosper. I want my bank balance to go up. We are not saying become poor. Not at the cost of an ideal. So here you can get to this state if you have a higher goal, a higher purpose, an ideal, and not one without action. You've planned all this well, but you don't want to do things yourself. You want your subordinates to do the work. You will only sit in an office and sign papers. No one will respect you. You've got to work for yourself. So you've got to have an ideal, and you have to act, not be tamasic, lazy, lethargic, procrastinate, or pass it on to somebody else. If you put all this together, you are quite high on that graph of human evolution. He continues.
Yam sanyasamiti prahuhu yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya sanyasta sankalpaha yogi bhavati kaschana. Yam sanyasamiti prahuhu yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya sanyasta sankalpaha yogi bhavati kaschana.
Oh Pandava, another name for Arjuna. So Krishna is talking to Arjuna here. Know yoga to be that which they call as sannyasa. So yoga and sannyasa are not different from each other. None indeed becomes a yogi without renouncing sankalpaha. Sankalpa means thoughts. Now in the context, we're talking about thoughts that disturb your mind. You remember we said, when you're disturbed, when you're agitated, it's not a natural state. You will be worried, anxious. So most people who get into action, there's a lot of stress, strain, worry, anxiety. Now, how do we function in this world without these anxieties, without the stress, without the strain? How do we do it? So he says, to be a yogi, one who is disciplined. Now, first of all, to understand these terms, let us put it in a different way. Imagine there is this graph of human development, evolution. On one side, you have people who are enamored by this world of things and beings. You know, the world is so fascinating. There's so many things that can engage you in this world. There is name, there is fame, there is money, there is recognition, status, so many things. Not to talk of various objects, better homes, better cars, better clothes, better, I don't know, holidays, so many things that you want to do. So it's very, very fascinating, this world. So what are you doing? You're earning. For what? To be able to get more and more of the world. And this is never ending, like we said. Richest man, he wants more because he's got a lot more desires. See, earlier you did not know much. Now that you know that there are many things that you can enjoy, your desires also keep increasing. And now you have to satisfy your new desires. Now to satisfy your new desires, you have to have that much more wealth. So you have to keep earning more and more. This will never end. Now we are not saying don't earn. Please, whatever you want to do, that's your life. But we're talking about your internal attitude. That's all we're discussing here. If you have a capacity to earn, go out and earn. But what do you want to do with it? How do you deal with it? How do you deal with your personality? So we have one set of people who think, look, I have one life. I want to go all out and enjoy everything. There are people. And they go all out to enjoy. Find out if they are happy. Every possible experience they want to have. By the end of it, they're exhausted because they've hurt themselves so much. And in the Bhajagovindam by Adi Shankaracharya, he says, even a grand old man who is now no hair on the head, he's toothless, he's not able to stand by himself, walking with a stick, even such a person is riddled with desires. What has happened is the body has become old, the mind still has desires. So he's not happy, he's more frustrated now. Earlier, when you were young, you could satisfy yourself, go out, because the body is there to help you satisfy your desires. But as you grow older, the desires don't become less. They multiply, but the body can't cope. So you're far more frustrated when you get older and not lead a disciplined life. This is the story of many a human in this world. You can call them bhogis. Bhogis are those who are fascinated by this world and take the world as an end in itself. See, some of us must think. Some of us must think. I don't know if it appeals to you, because you've come first day, you heard meditation, you heard all nice things, and this lady is talking all different things, never talked about meditation, you may be disappointed. But I have to build your understanding. We have to slowly understand what this whole technique is about. So let's start with where we are. See, some of us must think. You've come into this world alone. Right? When you go, who are you taking? Don't look at your wife. She's not coming with you. Because somebody is looking. Not your best friend. No. Nobody comes with you. You come into this world alone, you go alone. And what are you doing this whole life? Oh, I have to get here, I have to get there, I have to get this, I have to become this. You're doing all this. All right. You've earned a lot of money, name, fame. Are you going to take that with you? All the money that you've earned and you're saving. What are you going to do? You can't take it. In fact, people are waiting for you to go to take it. You can't take it. So your name, your fame, nothing you take. The only thing that you can possibly take is one of two: knowledge or ignorance. That's it. And what are we doing with relation to knowledge? Next to nothing. Next to nothing. A few days, today first day you've come, I don't know how many will have the stamina to continue till we finish the chapter. I'm not expecting you to come back, but it's an attempt. See, in the good old days, they went to the Himalayas to learn. For you to come in the traffic is worse than the Himalayas. Big effort. But 5 days, a little bit of service, a little bit of sacrifice you do, you probably will pick up something that you can use in your life. It's up to you. So, to be able to set those attractions and say, I will learn something, is a sacrifice. How many can do it? It's learning. That itself puts you apart from the bhogis who are lost in this world. That's why we say he's a yogi. So who is a yogi? A yogi is anyone, a person in the world, full of desires maybe. You've got all your aspirations and ambitions, but you've got one difference from the bhogi. I've got to find out, what is this life all about? Okay, I'm not an animal, I'm not a plant, I'm a human. What is so special about being a human? What is it that I have to achieve in this lifetime? If you have that question, it's a deep question, and you're willing to find the answer, you set yourself on that path. That is a yogi. So he's in the beginning of the journey, and then he says yoga is sannyasa. They're not different. A sannyasi is one who has tried and tested this knowledge. He has tasted the knowledge. He has taken in the knowledge. He's living it in his life and found that nothing in this world is worth it as much as this knowledge. Because if you have the knowledge, you may or may not have the world. You will still be a happy person. If you have just the world, you may have all the world, you may be miserable. So the knowledge helps you to live your life. Sometimes the world goes along with you. Many times it goes against you. But you have the strength to handle all that the world offers you. So that is a sannyasi, one who is well established on the path. You can't buy him up. You can give all the attractions of the world. It's not that he's not interested. So there are some people who say, I don't want the world, I don't want wealth, because they're incapable of earning. So that guy is not worth it. He's a useless fellow. He doesn't know how to earn. If he has given up wealth, it has no meaning. But if you have the capacity to enjoy and then keep it at bay, that shows you are a person of character, of strength. You know the value of a good car, but you're not disappointed if you don't have one. You know the value of a good home, so that you don't know. And you're capable of earning. You can get it, but you don't have the value. See, in our Shastras, King Janaka was said to be a man of renunciation. He was a king, meaning he had all the wealth. He had the best quality of life, but he was not enamored by it. He was not sold. One part of him knew all that he was going through has no meaning. Wealth has a place, but it's not everything. Name, fame is there, but it won't last. Today people put you on a pedestal. Tomorrow the same people will bring you down. Don't be disappointed. Today the children look up to you. Tomorrow they'll be too busy for you. Don't be disappointed. So you're fully prepared to face anything in life. That comes from knowledge. That's a sannyasi, a person who's well established in the higher knowledge, as a result of which he remains unaffected. None indeed becomes a yogi without renouncing sankalpa. Sankalpa is this constant desiring for the world. So your thoughts keep running into the world helplessly because you can't control it. There's nothing else to fall back on. So with a little knowledge, what will happen is your thoughts are redirected to something higher, as a result of which the fascination that you have for the lower is gone. You can still have it, but you're not enamored, you're not affected, you're not carried away. You understand the true value of things. That will happen if you set the right direction. It continues.
Arurukshor munir yogam karma karanamujyate yoga rudhasya tasyaiva shamah karanamujyate. Arurukshor munir yogam karma karanamujyate yoga rudhasya tasyaiva shamah karanamujyate.
For a seeker who wishes to master yoga, action is said to be the means. For one who is established in yoga, quietude is said to be the means. So this is the first introduction he's giving to this concept of meditation. Who is qualified to meditate? So when he says, for a seeker who wishes to master yoga, first of all, you should set the right direction. See, when you use the word yoga, the Sanskrit word, which means to join, which means to unite. It's taken from the Sanskrit root yuj. So what does he mean when he's using the word yoga? Does it mean breathing techniques? Does it mean doing physical asanas? That's not what he's discussing here. Certainly not in the battlefield. Krishna is not telling Arjuna, start breathing techniques here. When he's about to fight, he'll be blown off. Now what he's saying is, you've got to perfect your actions. Remember, the bhogi is one who's enamored by the world. But you say, no, that can't be everything. There's got to be something more to life than just living in this world, because it has a beginning and an end. You don't know where you came from. You don't know where you're going. Should you not be interested? So what is this life that I'm going through? Why am I here? What am I supposed to achieve? So when you start getting your answers, you're setting the right direction. That is yoga. You're getting back to the truths of life that today you may not know. There is a truth. There is a reality. What is that? We don't know today. So if you set the direction right, you're said to be following the path of yoga, a path that will ultimately take you to the truth of human existence. So that's yoga. And he says, to get there, you've got to act. How do you act? Karyam karma karoti yaha. You must do your bounden duties without expectations. Then you're on the right path. So when you live a life doing your duties and obligations perfectly, not cursing, oh God, I got to get up today, I've got to go to office, and find an excuse not to go. Like little children, you know, they don't want to go to school. So they say, I've got a cold, I've got a cough, I've got fever, I don't want to go. Similarly, we try to find some excuse not to go because we do not enjoy what we're doing. If you have the right attitude in life, you will enjoy anything that you do. See, Martin Luther King, I'll try and put it up for you on the screen. He talks about a street sweeper. You understand a street sweeper? It's an ordinary job to sweep the streets. You got to enjoy even that. It's not the cushy jobs sitting in big places with big people. That alone makes you feel great. Any job that is given to you. Let's see it. If a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. It's a simple thought, but that's exactly what the Gita is saying. It's not all the fancy positions that make you good or great. Even an ordinary job with an extraordinary attitude, you will be outstanding. Now, you don't want to be outstanding, but first thing is you'll enjoy every part of it. There's never a boring moment in your life. You wake up every morning like a springboard, jumping out of bed. I don't know how many of you. Chai. Somebody has to give it chai. The eyes don't open. By the time you get, it's like as though you just got out of ICU every morning. A hospital bed, it's not a bed. There's no energy. You got to spring up. You know, Swamiji is 91. I'm not trying to promote him, please, but it's somebody we are living with. We are seeing it. To catch up with him is difficult for us. It's an inspiration. Why? Because of the quality of life. And nobody is denied that. Any one of us can achieve it, provided we have the right attitude. All we're saying is, you don't have to worry about where you are in life. You don't have to worry about the job you're doing, or whatever you're engaged in. Oh, I don't have an interesting job. I'm only a homemaker. Make your home a masterpiece. People should come to visit you. That's the way you conduct yourself. It's an inspiration. So it's not what you do. You could be at home or office. It doesn't matter. You could be a street sweeper. That's what he's saying. Anything that is given to you, you're inspired to do it. That is the attitude. And that comes when you act, not when you shirk your responsibility. And you act with a higher purpose. You're not doing it for your own glory. Then why do you do it? A job well done. This is my job. I will do it to the best of my ability without expectation. I don't want somebody to put me on a pedestal or praise me. I just enjoy what I'm doing. So when you do that, in time, you will get established in yoga. You become a sannyasi. And a sannyasi is one who's so established, he's not acting on desires. His desires are reduced. The thoughts rushing into the world of a yogi reduces. Such a person is qualified for quietude. So you don't practice meditation, you practice a disciplined life that will make you meditative, that will make you contemplative, that will make you calm and serene. And that is the way to go on the path till you are qualified to sit in the seat of meditation. So he just gives an introduction here and he continues.
Yada hinendriyartheshu na karma svanushajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudhastadochyate yada hinendriyartheshu na karma svanushajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudhastadochyate.
When a man is not attached either to sense objects or actions and has renounced all sankalpas, thoughts, then he is said to be established in yoga. Remember we said yada tada, that idiomatic construction, saying if you fulfill this, then you get that. So it's logic, it's reason. Now what is he saying here? Who is a yoga rudaha? Who is one who's established in yoga? How do you get established? Again, yoga, I'm cautioning you, don't walk away from this classroom having your own ideas about yoga. Here it is clearly defined. Yoga is a path to perfection. How do you do it? This whole chapter is discussing. In fact, it's not given here, but people ask, there are many, many yogas. Now, without getting into these confusing discussions, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Shastras, they talk about only 3 yogas. I know there are people who will question it. Now, it's up to you to do your own homework and research, and you come to your own conclusions because it's your life. If you want to know what is coming out of the Shastras, there's enough evidence that there are only 3 yogas. You may say, how do you say that? Because you have only 3 equipments. For each equipment you have, there is a path given. You don't have a 4th. Example, what you have here is your physical body. What you see is your physical body. This is outer personality. The body acts. All of us are acting helplessly from the time you are born till the last day of your life. Everyone helplessly acts. Even the laziest person. Lazy action, but must act. Because the moment there are no actions, you're dead. So you're constantly acting. But these actions are of 3 types. You could be selfish, self-centered, thinking only about yourself, satisfying only what you want your whole life. That is one type of action, self-centered. And anyone who is self-centered will be miserable. This is a law. I can't change it, you can't change it. In other words, you can never find a selfish, happy person in this world. Not possible. Try. Then you have a better quality of action, which is unselfish. It's not just you, but you and your family. You can accommodate your family or your extended family. Some people think of society or my community. I'll do anything for my community. Outside my community, I don't care. But within my community, I'll give my life. So you're not thinking about yourself, but you're thinking of a larger interest far better than thinking about yourself. You will be happier, more peaceful, more content, and your actions of a better quality. But what he talks about, when you get to selflessness, that is the highest quality of human action. Only a human can do it. And the strange part is, hardly a human gets there. See, if you say, why is there so much of conflict in the world? Why is there strife and struggle? Why do people hate people? Why do they fight with each other? Selfishness. Thinking about oneself. Me against the world. Me against others. The moment you think in that manner, you're going to be agitated. You're going to be worried and anxious. See, the problem when we talk like this, people go to the other extreme. They say, you know what, I tried to be good, but everybody destroyed me, including my own family members. Therefore, I decided never to be good. Now, you don't understand. Even the Pandavas, the whole Mahabharata, the Pandavas were the good people. They were sent on exile by unfair means. If you know the story, the Pandavas were the good people. Kauravas were the evil-minded people. They took advantage of the good people. That is why they suffered and suffered and suffered. They lost everything. So what was this battle all about? When they came in contact with Krishna, when the Pandavas met Krishna, they had Krishna on his side. Now it's not the personality. I've already cautioned you. When we talk about Krishna, it is the principles of life and living. It's a complete knowledge. When they got the knowledge of the higher values, and throughout the Gita, Krishna is advising Arjuna, who was the commander-in-chief, who led the Pandava forces, they were able to conquer the evil forces and re-establish righteousness. So the good people finally won, but with the help of Krishna, meaning the higher values of life. That's what we are trying to learn. In these 5 evenings, what can you get? You will get a glimpse of what the higher values are. So coming back, those actions are the best. So karma, with your body you perform karma yoga. You convert selfish to unselfish to selfless. With your mind, we all have a mind. The second equipment, mind, manas. So what do you do with your mind? You have feelings. But what sort of feelings? Preferential. My family, my husband, my wife, my children, my society, my community, my religion, my country. Everything is my. What you like is me, not the country, not the religion, not the community, not the family. It's the me. That's what you are enamored by. So what we're saying here is purify that feeling. The concentration must move from your ego, from yourself to others. That changes the quality of your emotion. From being concentrated on yourself to accommodating one and all. So you purify your emotion. When you do that, you're following the path of devotion, bhakti. And the third is jnana. Jnana yoga, or the path of knowledge, because you have an intellect. These are the only 3 equipments you have. Therefore, 3 yogas. There is no fourth, because you don't have a fourth equipment. When you use your intellect, not to become scholars, not to read all the possible books and get confused, or perhaps impress others. So you may impress the whole world with your knowledge, but within yourself you could be miserable. You could be the same selfish, self-centered, agitated, angry, frustrated person, but you know everything. Of what use is that knowledge? It's like a mule carrying gold. It is gold, but of what use is it for the mule? So jnana is when you live these values. So if you do that, then he says, such a man will not be attached to the sense objects, means the world of things and your actions, your activities in the world. You still do it without that attachment. This is my work. This is mine. I am getting the glory. That attention is not upon yourself. And having renounced all sankalpa, the desires for the world, such a person is said to be well established in yoga. Continues.
Uddharedātmanātmānam nātmānam avasadayet Atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu Atmaiva ripuratmanah Uddharedātmanātmānam nātmānam avasadayet Atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu Atmaiva ripuratmanah.
Another oft-quoted verse, he says, Uddharet atmanatmanam. You've got to lift yourself by yourself. Nobody can help you. No guru, no master, no God. Don't go to a temple. Don't go to a church or mosque. When I say don't go, don't say I'm telling you not to go. You can go. You can cry, you can sing, you can do whatever you want. Nobody's listening. Because it's not how much you sing or how much charity you do. How much work do you do? What do you come back and do? You've got to do it yourself. It's like going to a gym. You want a fit body. Even that I can't tell you. Nobody wants a fit body here. Youngsters should be there, and they'll understand what I'm saying. See, why I'm saying that is, I don't blame you. If you are an Indian, born in India, married to an Indian, forget about your body. You will allow it to grow anywhere it wants. You don't worry. But in the Western countries, they're very, very particular, because if they don't maintain the body, a spouse will look somewhere else and go away. So just to keep the spouse coming back to the same house, they have to maintain themselves. India, no problem. Same, like good strain, we go on with the same person. We go on cursing, 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 but we continue. This is Indian culture. So no, that's why nobody cares for the body. Nobody cares. Yes, simply eat. Let the body do whatever it wants. Until the doctor says stop eating. Even then we'll try to cheat. So, if you want a fit body, what do? You go to a gymnasium. You go and work out. See, there's no point saying, I'm a very rich person, I've got 3 trainers. Trainers may have beautiful bodies, you may not have. The fellow comes and does exercise and goes, you look at him, that's all. No, you can't. Uddharet atmanatmanam. You've got to lift yourself by yourself. You can be the richest person, you can be the most powerful person. You want a fit body, sweat it out. Work out every single day. Be disciplined. Otherwise, you can't get it. Now, if you understand this with reference to physical fitness, mental fitness is far more difficult. That's what he's saying. What we're talking about in the Bhagavad Gita is to make you mentally fit to face anything in life. That's why I said a human being. See, an animal can't face as much as a human. A human has such capacities. You put him in the worst of circumstances, he'll come out if he knows how to do it. A same human can be the most helpless fellow. You can hardly call up such a person a human. You say, are you a piece of wood? Are you stone? What are you? Because you put him in the best of circumstances and he throws away the opportunity. Just wastes his life. This is the capacity of a human. But if you want to gain the higher values of life, you've got to lift yourself by yourself. Let him not lower himself. Why do you lose this opportunity called life and reduce yourself to the level of an animal or a plant or stone? Why do you reduce yourself? It's a waste of a human life. The self alone is his friend, the self alone is his enemy. You are your friend if you use your life properly. You are your enemy if you discard this life. And he continues the same tone, the next verse.
बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत् बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
For him who has conquered his self, the self, see there are two S's here. This is a small s if you can see it. For him who has conquered his small self, the big self, capital S, is his friend. But for him who has not conquered his little self, whatever that is, the big self is verily becomes hostile like an enemy. So first thing is the big and small, what are they? When he's talking about the small s, he's talking about this human, body, mind, intellect, the individual, you sitting there. That's the small self. But beyond, I did say that you have three aspects. You have a physical body, you have a mind, you have an intellect. Sharira, manas, buddhi. Now your body is acting, we said from morning till night, from birth to death, continuously acting. But who makes the body act? You're seeing right now what's enabling you to see. You're hearing right now what's enabling you to hear. Don't say the ear. A maximum you will take to science and say the sense center in the brain. Now we are asking what makes that work? Even science can't answer. Where science stops, philosophy starts. So there is something beyond the body which enables the body to act. We don't know. Similarly, you have feelings. You are able to feel good or bad, love or hatred. You're able to feel. What is enabling your mind to feel? Don't know. You're able to think right now. You say, I understand or I don't understand. I agree, I disagree. This is going on right now. Your intellect is functioning. But the question is, what is enabling your intellect to function? Beyond your body, beyond your mind, beyond your intellect lies your real self, capital S. That is your real personality. The body is your outer personality. The mind and intellect is your inner personality. But we are asking this question, who are you? What is your real personality? Some of you may not appreciate what we're saying. The definition of reality is that which persists. See, what is real? If we were to put it in common terms, that which existed in the past, which exists now, and continues to exist in the future, that alone we can call real, permanent. It's there. That's the truth. The truth can't change. See, a male will remain a male in the past, now, and future. Today we can't even say that. I'm assuming for all practical purposes. Okay? That is the truth. That is the truth. Relative truth, I'm talking about. Relative truth. So, the truth, if you really have to define truth, it is something which is the same always. Doesn't change. That is the truth. Now, if you take a look at your own personality, what were you, if you say, this is me. Who? This height, this weight. You look at the mirror, this is me. That's what, it's a confirmation. This is me. Please look at your own photograph when you were a baby. The body is not the same. The body has changed from that time to what it is now. And it will change in the future. Therefore, in the real sense, the body fails the test of truth because it's changing. It's not the same. Now you may agree with that, but there is something else. What? My feelings inside me. What are your feelings? The feelings you have now are not the feelings you had in the past. are not the feelings you will have in the future. It's all subject to change. Therefore, that also fails the test of reality. And if you say, my thinking, my thoughts, my ideas, what about your ideas? The ideas you had as a child is not the ideas you have now, is not the ideas you'll have in the future. All your thoughts are subject to change. Every aspect of your known personality is subject to change. Therefore, it fails the test of truth, the reality. It cannot be the real part of you. So the self, the capital, that does not change. That's the same. Don't you keep saying, I am, I am, I am, always? I am tall, I am short. I am happy, I am unhappy. I understand, I don't understand. All these are different. I am is the same. That doesn't change. I am a child when you were a child. I am a youth when you became older. I am an adult now. I am an old person later. I am the same. But the child is not the youth, is not the adult, is not the old person. They're all different. But I am the same. That I am is the truth. But the moment we use I am, we qualify it, we modify it, we destroy it. That unconditioned, unmodified, pure I am is the self. See, we are only saying theoretically, you can't get there now. We're just trying to draw a difference between the small s and the big S, that's all. If you can understand that much, you've done very, very well. But don't try and capture that truth. It cannot be. We are only trying to understand what is it that we have to get to. So he says, when you conquer the self, when your body, mind and intellect are disciplined, when you move from being selfish to unselfish to selfless, at all three levels, you've conquered your desires, you've conquered your wishes and wants, it's completely under control. Then he says, the self is your friend, is a friend. A friend is one who's constantly with you, will never let you down. But when you don't conquer your own personality, when it's not under control, your control, the same self becomes hostile like an enemy. Meaning you're agitated, worried, anxious, all the negative things come into you. But what is interesting here, we don't have the time to talk a lot about this, but he uses two terms. He says, is a friend like an enemy? Why the difference? You can say, is a friend, is an enemy, or like a friend, like an enemy. No. He says, is a friend, but like an enemy. Because the self in you, the God principle in you, the Atman in you, the truth in you is a constant part of you, is a friend. That is your original state. But when you don't reach your original state, the other aspect of you, which is enamored by the world, which is carried away by the world, where you become a slave to the demands of your own body, mind and intellect, that same self which is helping you to live, it becomes hostile, like an enemy. Just as water is colorless, appears colored in a cool drink, Fanta, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, different colors. But what is the base? The base is water. And water is colorless, but it appears colored. So you can say water is colorless, appears colored. The self is friend, appears an enemy. If you don't use your personality in the way you should be using it as a human. So in a way, you have no choice. You live up to the values of a human or you suffer. That is the way you need to go to improve and become a better and better human.
Jitatmanah prashantasya paramatma samahitah shitoshna sukha dukkheshu tatha manapamanayoho जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः.
Now that he has given us a direction that we need to put in our own effort, we need to ensure that our personalities are well controlled. Well controlled means you lead a life of values. So what are the values at the physical level? I've already told you briefly. Your action should move from selfish to unselfish to selfless. And what about your feelings? Could be now self-centered. You've got to purify your feelings. We're not explaining it, we're only stating it. At the same time, your intellect can just pick up ideas, and you could get confused with a whole lot of ideas. There's no clarity, though you have so many ideas. But when you're able to x-ray through all the differences and see there is something higher, you've got some idea of what the truth is. You're using your intellect and living these values. Now, if you do all that, you become a better and better human. Your whole personality comes under control. You're on the path. So when you follow all that is being said so far, you will move in a direction that will take you to a state of perfection. So 7th, 8th and 9th verses, he talks about what is that state of perfection with relation to certain aspects. So here he says, you remain unaffected with relation to subjective changes at the physical, mental and intellectual levels. So there are changes that happen. Simple change that everybody gets affected. First wrinkle that came. First white, grey hair. You get affected. How do we say that? That is why they are thriving anti-aging cream. And you'll go and buy it. Age, you will age. You put any number of creams. Do it, try it, see if it makes a difference. Same thing comes back. You try to cover it. Small things can affect you. Small loss here, small loss there, you get affected. So here he says, if you are on the path, you gracefully accept these changes. Yes, there will be change. Youth is youth. Adulthood is adulthood. Old age is old age. Enjoy every part of it. Go along with it. Don't be worried. The problem is you never enjoy anything. When you are young, you want to be an adult. When you're an adult, you want to be young. When are you happy? When you're old, you feel, why can I live my life again? Never happy. So here he says, if you have the right attitude, every aspect of your life you'll enjoy. That's what you need to do, a full life, a complete life. So he says the Supreme One who is self-controlled and peaceful, self-control I've already explained, is balanced in cold and heat at the physical level, all the differences at the physical level, including aging. It doesn't make a difference. Yes, things will change. So what? Take it as it comes. And then pleasure and pain at the mental level. Joy will be there, sorrow will be there. Joy will be there, sorrow will be there. When joy comes, you're excited. When sorrow comes, you're dejected. That's why you keep buffeting. And by the time you reach your middle ages, you're exhausted because you're thrown about all the time. Joy comes, you're happy. Of course you'll be happy. You won't be miserable when joy comes. But understand, Mr. Joy, thank you very much. Out you go. Why? Sorrow is waiting. Sorrow is your next guest. And sorrow has kept the clothes in your home because he comes very often, sorrow. Joy comes once in a while. But you be prepared. Na? This guest comes every time. You're prepared. Very demanding fellow, the sorrow. Joy comes, but he runs away. But that's the way it is. You've got to accept it. You're balanced in joy and sorrow, pleasure and pain, and honor and dishonor. One moment you're put up on the pedestal. Don't get giddy. Because why? Next moment you'll be brought down. So when you're brought down, you say, I knew it from the very beginning. You don't expect it. You don't curse it. So here is a person who's fully prepared. He is balanced in all the subjective changes. And in the 8th verse, he talks about objective differences.
Jnana vijnana triptatma कूटस्थो विजितेन्द्रियः युक्त इत्युच्यते योगी समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः ज्ञानविज्ञानतृप्तात्मा कूटस्थो विजितेन्द्रियः युक्त इत्युच्यते योगी समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः.
The yogi who is satisfied with knowledge and wisdom, who remains unshaken, who has conquered the senses, to whom a lump of earth, stone and gold are the same, is said to be a realized one. I did say that he's talking about that state of perfection. So we may not be there, but we must ensure we are going in that direction. Then you're on the right path. So what happens here, he's unaffected by objective changes. Now, India, Bharat being an agricultural country, earth was most precious. Stone was medium and gold was least precious. Now it's probably the other way around. Gold is most precious, stone is medium, and earth is least. So what it only means is there is a range of objects in the world. The least important and most important. But you have an idea. Yes, each one has a place in your life. But don't give it what we call a black market value. They all have a value. Earth is earth, gold is gold, stone is stone. Objective things are there. A good home, a good car, good clothes, good food. These are all objective things. They all have a place in your life, no doubt. And you know the difference. What is good, what is not good. But you are not affected. See, one day the food is not good. You don't get upset. There are people who throw the plate. What is this food you're giving? This is the thing. I work whole day long. Don't look at each other. I know some of you are looking at each other. Must be happening in your home. You get upset, affected. So anything that is happening in the world, good or bad, it will happen. It's part and parcel of life. You got to learn to be objective. Take it as it comes. Sometimes it's good not to eat. Thank God my wife doesn't cook good food because I can fast more often. Take it in your stride. Otherwise you'll be cursing every day or wanting to go somewhere, unhappy. If the food is not cooked properly, I am in the right house. This is my wife's cooking, I know that. If the food is good, you should be worried. Somebody else has come into the house and cooked. This is not my wife's cooking, you know. And same thing, if the wife cooks such good food and the husband never appreciates, you must understand that is my husband. Even if I do everything nice, he'll have to point something that is not there. Understand that. It's an objective difference. Accept. Otherwise, each one will be fighting with the other. And you know who enjoys the most? Children. Thank God they're fighting. They can watch TV for some more time. Or they talk to their friends. So you are losing out by going on fighting. So here is a person satisfied in knowledge and wisdom. You have the knowledge of the truth. You live the truth, that is wisdom. You remain unshaken. You've conquered your senses. Senses means what you demand. Your whole body demands. And then these differences that are around you, you understand the difference. You know what is good, what is not good. But take it in your stride. That is the attitude you will have in life. We'll continue tomorrow. Thank you.